The fall before the rise, hook and setup. 40,000 years had passed since Earth fell. In the vast dark of space, many believed that the story of humanity had ended with the Great Collapse. But in quiet corners of the galaxy, small colonies survived and learned from the old mistakes. One such colony was Nova Eden, a world far from the ruined remains of Earth. Here, the people clung to hope and worked hard to build a future from the ashes of the past. In Nova Eden, life was simple but full of constant danger. The colony's leaders had learned that survival meant always being alert. They told stories of Earth, a once beautiful planet that became lost in chaos and conflict. The memory of Earth was both a warning and a guide. It taught the people that no empire, no matter how mighty, was immune to downfall. Every citizen of Nova Eden was taught to respect the lessons of history. Among the colony's people was a young man named Orion. Orion was not yet a leader, but he was brave and curious. Every day, he listened to the elders speak of Earth's great fall. Their voices were soft but firm, filled with sorrow and wisdom. Orion wondered if the same fate that had brought ruin to Earth could one day reach Nova Eden. This thought both scared him and filled him with a strong desire to protect his home. One cold night, as the twin moons of Nova Eden shone in the dark sky, a strange event occurred. A bright light, not like any star or comet, appeared near the edge of the colony's view of the cosmos. The light pulsed slowly, as if it were alive, and it grew brighter with each passing moment. The people of Nova Eden gathered together, their eyes turned upward in fear and wonder. For many, this mysterious light was a sign, a message from the past or a warning for the future. Orion felt a pull in his heart as he watched the light. He remembered the tales of old, when humanity sent signals far into space in hopes of finding other survivors. Could this light be connected to those ancient calls? Or was it a threat, something unknown and dangerous? The elders whispered among themselves. They recalled an old prophecy, that one day a message would come from the stars, urging humanity to run and hide before a great danger arrived. The prophecy was vague, and many had dismissed it as a myth. Yet now, with the strange light before them, doubt crept into everyone's heart. The colony's council met in the central hall. There, under a dome of ancient stone, the leaders debated the meaning of the light. Some argued that it was a natural phenomenon, a burst of energy from a dying star. Others believed it was a deliberate message, sent by someone or something that knew the fate of civilizations. Orion sat quietly at the back, absorbing every word. He knew that the answer was not clear, and that the mystery of the light could change their lives forever. As hours turned into a long, tense night, the light began to move slowly across the sky. Its motion was gentle but purposeful, as if it was searching for something or someone. The colony scientists worked tirelessly to gather data, and soon a chill ran through the room. The readings showed patterns that were not random but filled with meaning, an ancient code that spoke of warnings and destinies. The possibility that the message was a call for help or a caution of impending doom sent ripples of fear and excitement among the people. Orion's heart pounded as he listened to the scientists. He thought of his family and friends, and the future of Nova Eden. His mind raced with questions. Was this light a call to arms or a plea to hide? Was it a final warning from a long-lost civilization, or a test of humanity's will to survive? The uncertainty left him feeling both small and determined. He knew that the colony could not ignore the message, for the fate of many might rest on how they chose to respond. In that moment, the colony faced a choice. They could dismiss the strange event as a trick of nature, or they could prepare for a future that might bring both hope and danger. The elders decided that every possibility must be considered. A small team of brave souls, including Orion, was chosen to follow the light's path. Their mission was clear: to seek the source of the message and learn its meaning, even if it meant venturing into the unknown. Thus, as the first light of dawn crept over Nova Eden, a new chapter began. Orion and his companions stepped forward into a world filled with mystery and suspense. They carried with them the lessons of Earth's fall and the hope of a rise that might come from understanding the past. Their journey promised danger and discovery, and it would test their courage like never before. In the silent vastness of space, the light pulsed on, a beacon guiding humanity toward its uncertain destiny. And so the story began, a tale of warning and survival, of old memories and new beginnings. The fate of Nova Eden, and perhaps all of humanity, now rested in the hands of those willing to listen to the silent call of the stars. The journey begins, the call to action. The next morning, Nova Eden was filled with a quiet buzz. The mysterious light had vanished from the sky, but its presence still lingered in the minds of everyone. In the main hall of the colony, the council gathered once more. Their decision was made. They would send a team to follow the light's trail and uncover its secret. Among those chosen was Orion, the brave young man who had listened to the elders' stories and felt the pull of destiny. Orion joined a small group of explorers. His companions included Lyra, a clever scientist who was known for her sharp mind, and Kale, a skilled navigator who had grown up mapping the stars. Each of them had a deep respect for the past and a strong desire to learn from it. Together, they hoped to find answers that could help their colony avoid the mistakes of old Earth. The team set out at dawn, leaving behind the safe walls of Nova Eden. They traveled in a small, sturdy ship designed for long journeys through space. As the vessel lifted off, the people of the colony waved goodbye, their faces mixed with hope and worry. The mission was dangerous, but it was also their only chance to learn about the warning hidden in the light. The ship sailed into a sea of dark stars. Orion watched the swirling cosmos outside the window, his heart filled with both fear and excitement. The space outside was vast and empty, yet every star and planet told a story of life that had once been and life that might be again. Lyra studied the readings on her instruments. The ship's sensors had picked up strange signals coming from a far-off region of space. These signals matched the pattern of the mysterious light they had seen the night before. Kale took control of the ship's navigation. He plotted a course that would lead them to the source of the signals. The journey was long and the space was cold, but the team felt driven by a purpose larger than themselves. Every star that passed by seemed to whisper secrets of the past and hints of what might come. The silence of space was both peaceful and full of hidden danger. During the long hours of travel, Orion and his team talked about the old tales of Earth. They recalled how once, long ago, Earth was a thriving world that fell into ruin. They discussed the warning left behind, a message for all of humanity: run for your lives. This simple phrase carried a heavy meaning. It was a reminder that even the greatest civilizations could crumble if they ignored the lessons of history. The ship entered a nebula, a cloud of gas and dust that glowed with soft colors. In this strange and beautiful place, the signals grew stronger. Lyra's eyes widened as she studied the new data. "There is a pattern here," she said, pointing to her screen. "It is almost like a language, a code from the past." Orion leaned closer to see the flickering symbols. They were simple shapes, but together they told a story of warning and hope. As the ship moved deeper into the nebula, the team encountered a field of small, icy bodies. Kale skillfully guided the vessel between them, avoiding collisions. The beauty of the icy field was striking, but there was little time to admire it. The signals they had been following were now growing in intensity, urging them to move forward. Every bump and shake of the ship reminded them that space was full of hidden obstacles, and that danger could be just around the corner. After several hours, the ship emerged from the nebula and came upon a small, dark planet. The signals were strongest here. The planet's surface was rough and scarred, with deep valleys and towering mountains. It seemed a fitting place for secrets to lie hidden. The team prepared for landing, checking their equipment and making sure the ship was ready for a descent onto an unknown world. On the planet's surface, everything felt both new and familiar. The air was thin and the sky was painted with distant stars. Orion and his team stepped out in their protective suits. Every step on the rocky ground echoed the weight of their mission. They had come here to search for the source of the ancient warning, a task that could change the fate of Nova Eden, and possibly all of humanity. Lyra led the group towards a strange structure that stood alone on the horizon. It looked old, made of a material that had withstood time and the harsh conditions of the planet. The structure was simple yet mysterious, with shapes that reminded the team of the symbols Lyra had seen on her screen. "This might be it," Cale said quietly, his eyes scanning the monument. Orion felt a mix of awe and anxiety. The journey had been long and filled with uncertainties, yet now they stood before a relic that could hold the key to understanding the ancient warning. The structure seemed to breathe history, as if it had witnessed the rise and fall of great worlds. Its silent presence was a message in itself, a message of warning from a time when Earth was still a beacon of life. The team gathered around the monument, ready to explore its secrets. They set up a small base and began to study the markings on its surface. Every mark was a clue, every symbol a piece of a larger puzzle. As they worked, the sun of this distant world began to set, casting long shadows and deepening the mystery of the monument. In the fading light, Orion realized that their journey was only just beginning. The answers they sought were hidden in the echoes of the past, and the monument might reveal them one step at a time. With each discovery, they would learn more about the warning that had driven them across the stars. And with every new piece of information, the future of Nova Eden, and perhaps all of humanity, would become a little clearer. Thus, on a lonely planet far from home, the brave explorers took their first steps into the unknown. The journey to uncover the ancient warning had begun, a journey that promised both danger and hope. In the silent space between the stars and the forgotten relic, the story of humanity's rise from its fall continued to unfold. Echoes of the past, discovery, and revelation. Under the dim light of the distant planet's setting sun, Orion and his team gathered around the strange monument. The structure, ancient and weathered, rose from the rocky ground like a silent guardian of secrets. Its surface was covered in simple shapes and symbols that glowed faintly with a hidden energy. The air was still, as if the monument itself was holding its breath, waiting for the explorers to unlock its story. Lyra stepped forward and ran her gloved fingers over the smooth stone. "These markings are not random," she said in a low voice. "They are a language of our ancestors, or perhaps even older." Her eyes scanned the lines and curves, trying to see the hidden patterns. Each mark told a story of a time when people lived in harmony with the stars, a time before Earth's fall. Cale set up a small portable device to take detailed readings from the monument's surface. The machine beeped softly as it captured the energy signatures. "There is a rhythm in these signals," he noted. "It is like a heartbeat that connects this place with something far away." Orion watched his friend's work, feeling a mix of wonder and responsibility. The monument was more than just stone. It was a message from the past, a warning meant for those who dared to listen. The team decided to split up to study different parts of the structure. Orion, with his natural curiosity and steady resolve, took a careful look at a series of deep grooves carved into one side of the monument. As he ran his hand along the indentations, he felt a small vibration beneath his fingertips. Surprised, he pressed a bit harder, and the vibration grew stronger, almost as if the stone was responding to his touch. At that moment, a hidden door slowly slid open along the groove. Dust swirled in the air as a dark passage was revealed inside the monument. The team gathered around, their eyes wide with a mixture of fear and excitement. "This could be an entrance to the old world," Orion said softly. "It might hold more answers than we ever expected." With a deep breath, he led the way into the dark passage, the others close behind him. Inside, the walls were lined with the same simple symbols that adorned the outside. The air was cool and carried a faint smell of ancient earth and metal. The corridor was narrow but long, stretching deep into the heart of the monument. Lyra brought a small light to brighten the path, revealing more carvings that seemed to tell a continuous story, a story of rise, fall, and hope. As they walked slowly, the team discovered a large chamber at the end of the corridor. The room was circular, and in its center stood a pedestal made of the same mysterious material as the monument. On the pedestal lay a small glowing orb that pulsed with a gentle light. The orb's glow cast dancing shadows on the walls, as if the chamber itself was alive with memories. Kale approached the orb with caution. "This must be the core of the message," he said. "It is the heart of what we are meant to understand." Orion felt drawn to the orb. Its light was warm, and it seemed to pulse in sync with his own heartbeat. He reached out and touched the smooth surface of the orb. In that moment, a rush of images and sounds filled his mind. He saw visions of a time long ago, of great cities built under open skies, of people living together in peace, and of a warning that echoed through the ages: "Run for your lives." The warning was not just a call to flee, but a message to learn from the mistakes of the past. It told of a great danger that had once threatened humanity, a danger born from neglect and hubris. The orb's message was clear. It warned that no matter how far humanity might travel or how high it might rise, the lessons of the past must never be forgotten. The ancient people had carved this monument not only as a record of what had been lost, but also as a guide for the future. They had known that there would always be those who needed to be reminded of the cost of arrogance and the price of ignoring history. Orion stepped back, his mind racing with the visions he had seen. He knew that the discovery of the orb was only the beginning. "We must take this knowledge back to Nova Eden," he said firmly. "Our people need to understand that our survival depends on remembering the past." Lyra and Kale nodded in agreement, their faces reflecting the gravity of the moment. Before leaving the chamber, the team carefully documented everything they had seen and heard. Lyra recorded the images and sounds, while Kel took detailed notes about the structure and its energy readings. They realized that every part of the monument, every simple carving, held a piece of the ancient puzzle. Together, these pieces told the story of humanity's rise and fall, a story that was as much a warning as it was a call to action. With the orb safely stored in their equipment, Orion and his team exited the hidden chamber. The passageway closed behind them with a soft rumble, sealing the secrets once again. Outside, under the light of the distant stars, the team paused to reflect on their discovery. They knew that the journey ahead would be long and filled with more mysteries, but they also knew that they now carried the key to a message that could save humanity. The echoes of the past had spoken, and their voices reached out across time and space. In that quiet moment on the ancient planet, hope and determination filled the hearts of the explorers. The warning from the stars was clear, and the promise of a new beginning shone as brightly as the orb's gentle light. The hidden history, secrets unravel. After the team left the ancient chamber with the glowing orb safely stored, a new sense of purpose filled their hearts. They knew that the orb held the key to many secrets of the past, and it was now their duty to learn all it had to share. As Orion, Lyra, and Kale stepped back into the open air of the mysterious planet, they felt that the true story of humanity's rise and fall was about to be revealed. The small group set up a temporary base near the monument. Under a pale sky, they began to study the orb more closely. Lyra carefully connected the orb to her portable device. Simple readings flashed on the screen, and the soft hum of the machine filled the quiet night. The orb responded by pulsing its light in time with a hidden rhythm. Every pulse seemed to whisper an old secret, calling out to those who would listen. Orion stood beside the monument, his eyes fixed on the orb. He thought about the voices he had heard in his visions, the echoes of a past that had once known hope, strength, and also great mistakes. "There is a story here," he said, his voice low and steady. "A story of how people built great cities and then lost them all because they forgot the lessons of the past." His words were simple, yet they carried a heavy truth that resonated with everyone. Kale joined them, his curiosity shining through his cautious manner. "I think the orb is telling us about a great archive," he said, "a place where our ancestors stored their memories, their triumphs, and their warnings. It is not just a warning to run, but a call to remember." He looked at the simple symbols carved on the monument's walls, symbols that seemed to echo the images from Orion's vision. They formed a map, a guide that pointed toward hidden archives scattered across forgotten worlds. Lyra nodded in agreement. "We need to find these archives. They could hold more pieces of the message," she explained. "Every piece will help us understand what happened on Earth and why it fell. With that knowledge, we can better prepare Nova Eden for the challenges ahead." Her clear, direct words made it easy for everyone to see the importance of their mission. The orb's light grew a little brighter as if it approved of their plan. Its pulses quickened when Lyra adjusted the readings. The device picked up faint signals that were hidden beneath the simple light, a code that repeated over and over. Orion carefully recorded the data. He saw a pattern emerging from the numbers and symbols, a rough star map that pointed to several other planets, each marked with a similar set of carvings. These marks seemed to be breadcrumbs left by those who had once built the great archives. As the night deepened, the team worked together under the gentle glow of the orb. They discussed how the archives might change what they knew about the past. Orion remembered the old stories of Earth, where wisdom was passed down through generations. Now, he realized, the ancient builders of the monument had done something similar by leaving behind this map. They had created a way for future generations to learn from history and to avoid repeating old mistakes. The conversation turned to the lessons hidden within these archives. "Maybe they knew that knowledge is the key to survival," Orion said. "They built these archives to guide those who would come after them, to help them build a future that honors the past." His words were simple, yet they carried a deep meaning. It was a call not just for caution, but for hope, a hope built on the foundation of remembering and learning. The following morning, with the pale light of a foreign sun rising, the team prepared to leave their temporary base. Their next step was clear: follow the star map provided by the orb's pulses. The journey ahead would take them to distant worlds, each holding secrets that had been lost to time. They packed their equipment carefully, knowing that every artifact and every symbol might prove essential in piecing together the hidden history of humanity. Before departing, Orion took one last look at the monument. The ancient stone, with its simple carvings and silent strength, stood as a reminder that every fall holds the seed of a rise. He felt a surge of determination. "We are not just searching for history," he told his team. "We are searching for the truth of who we were and who we must become." His voice was calm but firm, echoing the responsibility that lay on their shoulders. Kale plotted their course using the star map generated from the orb's code. With Lyra's help, they set a heading toward the first marked world, a planet that lay at the edge of a distant galaxy. The coordinates were simple, yet they promised a complex story waiting to be discovered. The ship's engines roared to life as they began their journey into the unknown, leaving behind the ancient planet that had quietly shared its secrets. As they traveled through space, each pulse of the orb seemed to guide them further along their path. The simple language of light and symbols bridged the gap between a lost past and the uncertain future. With every beat of that hidden history, Orion, Lyra, and Kale knew that they carried forward not just a warning, but a promise. The promise that by remembering the past, they could forge a better future for Nova Eden and for all of humanity. In the silence of space, amid the soft glow of distant stars, the team pressed on. Their journey into the hidden history had only just begun, and each step brought them closer to the truth that would help humanity rise once more from its ashes. The hidden danger, confrontation, and revelation. Orion, Lyra, and Kale followed the star map's coordinates through endless space until their ship approached a new, mysterious world. The planet was dark and rocky, with deep craters and jagged mountains that cut across its surface. Its atmosphere was thin and filled with swirling dust, giving the world an eerie, almost haunted look. Yet the orb's pulsing light had led them here, and they trusted the ancient code that promised more answers. The explorers landed near a vast valley where the markings from the orb began to appear on the ground. Simple symbols, carved deep into stone and scattered on the landscape, guided them forward. As they disembarked, Orion could feel a chill run down his spine. The air was quiet, and every sound of their footsteps on the rocky soil felt loud in the silence. The valley was vast and filled with crumbling ruins that told a story of a long-forgotten civilization. Lyra led the group toward a large stone archway that stood partly collapsed, its surface adorned with the same symbols as the orb. "This must be an entrance to an ancient archive," she said, her voice steady even though her hands shook slightly with excitement and fear. "We need to be cautious. The past holds both wisdom and warning." Kale nodded, checking his equipment, while Orion stepped forward to examine the carvings closely. Inside the archway, a narrow passage opened into what looked like a once grand hall. The ceiling was high, and faint light seeped through cracks in the stone. Dust filled the air, and the floor was scattered with fragments of pottery and worn-out tablets covered in the simple language of the ancients. The team moved carefully, each step echoing in the silent hall. It was a place frozen in time, a place that might reveal the secrets behind the Great Warning. As they advanced, the passage split into two corridors. One led downward, where the air grew cooler and the walls bore fresh marks that hinted at recent activity. The other corridor led upward, where the symbols were older and more faded, telling a story of a distant past. Orion suggested that they split up to gather as much information as possible, while keeping in constant contact through their portable devices. Lyra and Kale took the corridor leading downward. Their devices began to register strange energy readings and faint sounds that resembled whispers. The walls here were smoother, as if they had been polished by time or by caring hands. Every step felt like an intrusion into a sacred space. As they progressed, the corridor opened into a large chamber. Here, half buried in dust, stood a series of stone pillars arranged in a circle. In the center of the circle lay a stone pedestal, much like the one they had seen on the previous planet. However, this pedestal was broken, and pieces of what looked like an ancient device were scattered around it. Back in the upward corridor, Orion discovered a different scene. The symbols along the walls became larger and more distinct, and he soon found himself in a small room filled with a soft, blue light. In the center of this room was a simple stone tablet, its surface carved with a detailed map and an inscription in the ancient language. Orion carefully studied the tablet. The inscription told a tale of a great danger that once threatened the civilization that had built these archives. It spoke of a force that could erase entire worlds and warned that only those who remembered the lessons of the past could hope to survive. As Orion continued to read, a sudden sound startled him, a loud, echoing thud that seemed to come from the deeper parts of the hall. He called out, and his voice was answered by Lyra's cautious reply through the communicator. "We have a problem here," she said. "There is movement in the lower chamber. Something is not right." Orion's heart pounded as he hurried back toward the split, joining Lyra and Kale in the lower chamber. There they saw evidence that they were not alone. The stone pillars, once silent and dignified, now vibrated with a low, threatening hum. Shadows moved along the walls as if unseen figures were watching them. Cal's eyes widened when he saw that some of the scattered pieces on the pedestal had been disturbed, as if someone, or something, had been there recently. Suddenly, a deep, resonant sound filled the chamber. The broken pieces of the ancient device began to reassemble themselves with an almost magical force. The team stepped back in alarm, unsure whether this was a defensive measure of the old archive or a sign of an active presence guarding the secrets of the past. The assembled device emitted a pulse of blue light that merged with the glow of the tablet Orion had found. The two lights danced together, casting eerie shadows on the walls. In that tense moment, the explorers realized that the hidden danger was not just the threat from the past that the warning had spoken of. It was also a living force, an echo of an ancient power that still watched over these relics. The force did not speak, but its presence was clear. The past was not dead, and it would not let its secrets go without a challenge. Orion took a deep breath, steadying himself. "We must learn from this," he said softly, "but we must also be ready to defend ourselves if needed." Lyra and Kale nodded in agreement, their faces set with determination. Together, they prepared to study the reassembling device, hoping to understand its purpose and to uncover more of the hidden history. In that chamber, at the crossroads of ancient wisdom and new danger, the explorers faced a trial that would test not only their courage but their commitment to the lessons of the past. The hidden danger had made its presence known, and now, with simple words and steadfast hearts, they'd vowed to meet it head-on. The journey was far from over, and the path ahead promised both revelation and risk as the secrets of the ancients began to awaken once again.